Welcome back to Mind Your Business. My name is Stephan. In today's creator highlight episode, I have the special pleasure of being joined by somebody who you might not know from YouTube media, you might not know from TikTok, but I guarantee if you follow the crypto live event series, you've seen this guy pretty much everywhere. He's at every major hype event. He's at every major promotional event. And in fact, he's the mastermind of an upcoming series of events that I'm really excited that we get a sneak peek into. Let me, without further ado, welcome Adam Loudmouth Patterson.
Let's go, baby. What's happening? Mind your biz in the house.
Hey, really appreciate you making time. Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you. We've been able to. I think I'm one of only a few people that gets to say we've been able to vibe internationally all the way across the other side of the world and then back domestically and hit a bunch of really dope nightlife spots from Miami to Austin to Las Vegas. And frankly, I'm looking forward to doing that for quite a while, right? Like I look forward to the times that we actually get to meet up in person. And I mean, you already know, man, like this is why people ask for you by name is because you bring the party with you. So no, it's amazing, man. Definitely amazing.
Like I tell Cassius all the time, we are the party. We are the list. What do you mean we got to get on the list? We are the list. But yeah, we've partied. Thanks for having me on for sure. It's an honor. And I love your content. I've watched it for a long time. So
well, thanks.
We're smart guys. Still think you're one of the smartest guys I've ever met. So
well, I definitely appreciate you saying that, and it does mean a lot. Now, one of these days, though, we're gonna go events. We're gonna work an event, and we're gonna do like opposite day, right? For the entire day, I'm gonna rock the captain's hat, the glasses. I'll wear the sparkly. I'll even do the sparkly jacket, and we'll fool them, right? We'll just do a wife swap for the day, and I'm just gonna be like loudmouth. I'll go, let's go, and I'll work the stage for a day, and just be like, can I do this? Could I keep it up? I don't think I could, man. I actually don't think I could do what you do, but I want to try it for a day. I don't think it'll work out.
Fun. We have partied across the world, across the globe and back, right? And we're just getting started. So
yeah,
I'm
man.
excited.
I mean, yeah, definitely appreciate that. It's just Southeast Asia. I think we're gonna discover later on. You actually got to go some other places too to make sure that you've been properly traveled. That the Loudmouth brand makes it to every major continent. But we'll get into that in just a minute. For the Mind Your Biz community and audience that maybe doesn't know you very well, can you give us kind of a 30,000 foot overview or me in 30 seconds type statement? Who the heck is Loudmouth?
Well, I'm just a dad. Oh wait, no, that's Wendy O's thing. I'm just the mom, right? I am a dad though. I got 7 kids. Been married. Next month will be 18 years. So yeah, I've got my son just had his baby yesterday, so that was my 4th grandkid, and I've got my daughter has my 5th one on the way. So I'm the coolest granddad you'll ever meet until Mind Your Biz has grandkids, and he's still a little way away, right? But we're the dads at the conference, right? We're the dads at the party. That's crazy, and we bring our wives sometimes when they're available. Their schedule is available, right? So, but to look at us, you wouldn't think, oh, those guys are dads, right? We're party guys, right? We have a good time, but neither one of us even drink alcohol, which is mind blowing to a lot of people, right?
Yeah. No, it's an interesting time that we're living in, right? Where basically everybody's a high functioning alcoholic, it seems. So you stand out, especially when you don't drink at all.
We're just the dads that have fun to make sure everybody doesn't hurt themselves right now. But we can turn up. Like I was on my space Monday night, and Six came on, and he said, I've been to 49 states and 11 countries, and I've never, ever met anybody that can turn up like you completely sober. He said, you hang with everybody. He said, I've never, ever in my life, anywhere I've been, seen anything like that. So I thought that was really cool flowers from him.
Yeah, no, I seriously, especially from Six, that's tall praise, man. Because there's a guy, like he was saying, not only well traveled, but also has conducted a lot of events, right? And
yes,
he gets it, right? He gets it. He has to orchestrate this. So let's dive in a little deeper.
Sorry, I messed my 30,000 view overview right there.
No, it's all right. I think you captured the essence of it, but. Well, let's do this then. Let's maybe make it a little bit easier to unpack that assignment into some more structured questions, slightly more structured questions, right? So let's just talk about before getting involved in crypto, everybody always asks you, like, how'd you meet crypto? And I really don't care, honestly. Sorry to be weird about it, but I actually don't give two craps about how you found crypto. I want to know what you were doing before you found it. Who was that guy? Before loudmouth.eth was even a thing, who the heck was Adam Patterson? What did that guy do?
So that guy was a local businessman. And so I had 28 properties, and a lot of them were commercial properties. And then I had 7 local businesses operating in the same town I grew up in. Excuse me. And my job was kind of similar to what I do in crypto and in the Web3 spaces. I just wanted to create atmospheres and things for people to thrive in and to win. I wanted to start local jobs because I think that if we build local, then we can think global, right? So, and that's the world I want to live in. So I just want to be the change I want to see. And if I can help create a place for local jobs to happen, then that actually helps the local community. It gives an opportunity for people to provide for their family. And then also a place that I can help raise up entrepreneurs. And then through all of that, my end goal in that was to cash flow the properties so that I could own the real estate. And then I would leverage and finance those things to do it again and again and again. And so that's what I did. And I got up to 28 properties and 7 local businesses operating at one time. And then I really felt in my heart that me and my family were supposed to move to Texas. And we shut down some of the stuff. I transferred a lot of the employees to other people. And then we sold enough to get out of our business debt. And then we gave everything else away and moved to Texas. And so I've been in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas for 4 years this month. On the 10th was the 4-year anniversary of us moving here. And right after I moved here, I was just going to be a dad, right? Because I was working 100+ hours a week, and I'd built a pretty good net worth. And then when I was like, there's got to be more than this, and it can't. I figured out how to make money, but I haven't figured out how to make more time. So I thought 2 of my kids my second daughter turned 18, so I had 2 grown kids, and I was thinking, where the heck did the time go? And I was working. And I thought, I don't want to do that again. So we gave everything away, came to Texas, and then COVID happened. And thank God, because if COVID happened before I did that, I would have lost my ever-living mind if I was made to stop doing that stuff. So I believe that God already knew what was coming, and he knew me, and he's like, all right, I'm going to make you think you volunteered to not do that before everything gets shut down. Because I mean, I would have lost it. I have this innate ability to not want to do what people tell me to do, and kind of buck authority, because a lot of times it's just not what I agree with. And not just wild bucking it, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I think I'm not like the rest. I think a little different. And that's why I ended up being a lot of people's boss, because I did think differently. So through that, COVID happened, and it kind of shut everybody in. And guess what that does? That makes people go online that normally don't go online. And let me backtrack real quick. I had a tire shop, automotive repair shop, and a coffee shop. And crypto was 2017 when the boom kind of happened. Well, I was so busy. I just was like, I think that the smartest, greatest people in the world are in this. I don't understand it at all, but I'm going to put some money in it. So I did. And then it crashed, right? I didn't know what a bull market, bear market was, anything, but I was the first business in the state of Kentucky to receive crypto as payment back in January 2018. I think the news came out, did an article, and I was thinking, I don't even know what I'm doing, but it got me free advertisement marketing, because obviously you got to be pretty good at that. If you're going to run 7 local businesses, you got to know how to advertise and market. And it just happened, right? They came out with an article and everything. So when it crashed, I was too stubborn, because I like the buck things, and to sell and lose. You only lose if you sell or leave, right? So I ain't leaving, because I really wasn't even there. I was just invested. And then it went down, and I started watching people's channel like Bitboy Crypto when he had less than 30,000 followers, and Altcoin Daily, and just watching you guys, Wendy O, and you guys on YouTube. And you guys were starting to teach me what this was. And so I just started to believe you. And so then that's when we moved. So, but I didn't pay much attention to it because I had everything else going on. It was just, kind of like people think right now, and why they're not in Web 3 yet, because they're still doing pretty good success in Web 2. They don't think they need it, or they don't really understand it enough to where this is going good. I don't really care. Right. So when COVID came and we moved and COVID happened, it kind of shut everybody down. So what I started to become a YouTube junkie and started to watch you guys all the time, because that was later the only thing I had left. We gave everything away and came here. And I thought, well, I still got that. And it started to come back up. And I felt like I was supposed to buy a few more. I bought a couple Bitcoin. I bought 100 Ethereum. And then about a year into watching that, well, the next bull run started and it shot up. And I was thinking, oh man, this is amazing. So then I found out about NFTs. I get on Twitter because you guys, Elio Trades and Lark Davis and BitBoy and all you guys say, follow us on Twitter. We go on Twitter. I learn about NFTs. I start buying some NFTs, not knowing what I'm doing, but just like I did Bitcoin and Ethereum, just do it and I'll figure it out. Because where your treasure is, you're hard to follow. If I don't have any money in it, I ain't going to learn it. If I start to invest in it, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to figure it out because I'm too hard-headed to lose. So I started to put money in NFTs. Well, I also have a problem with self-control sometimes when I like something, and I went a little wild. So I bought thousands of NFTs and just went nuts because it clicked in my head, and I was thinking, this is the future of leverage and finance, just like I used to do real estate. Once this has enough traction and consistency, we'll be able to leverage these just like a property. This is a digital property, digital asset. And my Bored Ape never calls me about his roof leaking. He never is late on his rent. I don't have to fix any holes that he kicks in. Like, it's total no maintenance hardly at all. So I start sharing on Twitter Spaces. And then I went from 100 followers to about 30,000 followers. And a matter of months, it was, about a little less than a year. So I was not a social media guy. I still am not that great at it, but
yeah, I'm going to stop you there real fast and say you did do that everybody in social media talks about doing is you came with consistency, and you did your FOMO with loud spaces every single week faithfully, if I'm not mistaken.
Consistent. I've missed, I think, 4 shows because of travel in over 2 years. Because I believe that what you consistently do, you become, and what you behold, you become. So like, if you're going to consistently do something over and over and over again, you're gaining trust. It's gained in drops and it's lost in buckets. And even with yourself, every word you speak either gains or loses trust with everybody that hears it, including you. And so if you say you're going to do something and you don't, you lose trust within yourself every time that happens. And then you're beholding that. So then you're becoming that. You're consistently doing that. You're going to consistently become that. And so I knew that one of the keys to success, I don't know all the keys to success. I know one of them is to failure is trying to please everybody. That's off top. But one of the keys to success is to be consistent because people can trust that. And almost everything else in my life is I'm the consistent inconsistency, right? Which is, I don't recommend, but that's why I'm very unique. I'm God's NFT. I think we all are in our own right. We're one of a kinds, right? So when I started to understand that and do that, I started to consistently do that. Well, one thing that people loved about me that wasn't here a lot, or in Twitter Spaces, shall I say, or in NFTs, is they didn't understand business. They never worked at one, built one, owned one, done anything. They had no sense in business. They were super smart coders and they understood things I still don't understand, as you well know, like certain links and clicks and DApp wallets. And I get the big picture because I understand business and I understand people, but I don't understand how to build and code and do none of that stuff. Mining, like that. That's why you're my friend. I don't need to. You got it. You got that covered for me, right? If I need anything, I just say, hey, I don't know what this means. What does it mean? And I'm very transparent to do that, because I think if you are willing to look like a fool once, then you'll never have to look like it again, because you actually learn rather than just going, oh, yeah, and just act like you know it. Ask. It's okay, So through that, COVID started to release a little bit, and then I started getting invited to in real life events because of people I'd met on social media and Twitter. And I thought, all right, let's do this. So I went to a couple of those, and then I would introduce my name as Adam, and they would look at me funny. And then somebody beside me would go, "That's Loudmouth." And they go, "Oh, Loudmouth." And they'd hug me, and then they say, "Can I take a picture?" And that was before I didn't even knew what was going to, like, what's going on in this space. But I thought, okay, this is probably brandable. Like, I need to introduce myself as Loudmouth, and I need to get a hat that says Loud on it. And I need to figure out, like, and then because IP rights was big in NFT space, I thought, well, I'm going to, use that to brand this and figure out what's going to come of it naturally, right? No intention. I didn't get in this space to just make money. I got in this. I'm okay with money if it comes, but I got in this space because I was locked in the house. I knew it was great tech. I believe it was the future, is the future of leverage and finance. And all the people I met online and then in real life, and I was like, this is amazing. I love this. Like, I found my people, because before I was the weird aluminum hat wearing guy that believed in crypto and let his business accept it, right? And I wasn't even that smart. I wasn't really into crypto. I was just so early that I was willing to do that because I knew that's what it was going to take. And I would find the right people, right? So then about a year into that, I ended up meeting a lot of people that I was watching on YouTube in the first place. And then I met Adam Charles, and he threw me in y'all's Telegram chat. And I was thinking, I don't know how I'm in the YouTubers Telegram chat. I don't have a YouTube channel, but I appreciate it. And I thought it was amazing because that was my people. So instead of having no one to talk about crypto with, now I'm connected to everybody in the world that is talking about it. And it's like, we found our people. And so there's no way I'm going anywhere. And I'm here to stay. And I think that more people are coming, and very soon, nothing will be different. Everything will be this. Everything will be blockchain technology, because it's the real gem here beyond the people. People's the number one thing that matters to me, I believe. And then past that, it's this blockchain technology. What you do with that. You don't be a maxi. Don't take off and say, screw Web 2. I'm all Web 3 now. And then, because I'm not really a Web 3 guy, but Web 3 exposed me, right? To let the world know who I was. Because otherwise I was just like this kind of local town, small town celebrity kind of guy. And then I moved to a big place because I didn't want to be a big shark in a small pond. I wanted to go and keep growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. I moved to Dallas. Yeah. And I had no idea what was going on or what I was going to do. And then that happened. And then now it's like I'm traveling the world and going to all these conferences and hanging out with my friends and helping them promote things that they're doing and putting people together, just kind of like what I did before, just kind of facilitating things and bringing people together to build a lot of great, amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it sounds like also, I mean, like you're saying, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to learn from what you went through. But at the same time, like this rings true of the experience that I've had with you. And this is why I like going through this with people on my channel right now, in part because, well, there's a lot that's changing lately with AI in the publishing space, where for me, I'm like, I can't just read the news because AI can do it better. Like, it really can. It can do certain things better. What it doesn't do better is like what you're saying, is having that personal touch, meeting up with people, body language, having experiences. And I mean, the moment AI takes that from us, like, what do we have left? Right? Like, I sincerely hope we don't live through that.
It'll never, because there's a hunger right now across the world for authenticity and real. People want real, and AI is not real. As amazing as it is. I think it's going to help a lot of things, but it's all about your perspective on what you look at, because AI can never take this away, right? What we don't just travel just to show up at a conference and get content for more people to follow us. We go there because that's our people, right? AI is not a people. So you found your tribe, you found your people, and you rock with them. And if people don't rock with you, then just keep it moving. It's okay. You're not my enemy, right? But
yeah,
that's a really big thing. People they need to find their purpose. They need to have the discipline and self-control to have the consistency to be successful. And they want a community or a family. Like, we were designed to do life together. And that's what this space has done for me. And I see a lot of other people, is like, it allows us to not be the weird lone wolf in the small town that you're from, but actually find the people that you resonate with, and that, oh man, there's a bunch of people just like me all over the world. We just didn't know how to connect. So the world is the connected it's ever been, as well as big as it it's ever been, but it's still small as it's ever been, because the connectivity.
Yeah, no, I feel that I feel that very, very profoundly. Everything you're talking about right now, as far as finding a tribe, finding people that you can actually rock with, people that actually do value this sort of like weird third culture that we've developed in Web3. It's not even so much about, like you're saying, it's not just about the tech. The tech is there, and it's an artifact of what we do together, and it gives us our in jokes and all that. It gives us stuff to to laugh and cry about on a regular basis. But it really is just about that connection that we make, where it's like, nah, man, these rooms that we get out to, right? These events we get out to, I've never seen so many misfits all in one place, right? Like, it's surreal.
It's a room of rebels. And here's the thing too, like, not many people around my everyday life celebrate me wearing flashy, glittery clothes and captain hats, right? But there, everybody absolutely loves it, because it's actually me being who I am and authentic. It's almost like getting to be a kid again. I always used to joke, like, NFTs are pictures of cartoons, but it's actually like going back to 6th grade or even earlier, and getting up on Saturday morning watching cartoons and eating your cereal, and then the door knocks and Spaces is like, can you come out and play? And then you play all day with your friends and stuff. It's almost like getting to be a kid and finding your family and your people, and they celebrate who you are, because you can't really just do that in the geographical location that you're at, as well as others. I think, like, some people can, some people that are standouts that we weren't created to fit in do not, unless you get to travel or get exposed to new things. But then people still love it because it's something they don't see every day. Like, a lot of people will say, man, I really love your captain hat, or I really love those shoes, and what they're really saying is, I really love the courage that you're displaying to wear that, because I don't have that at the moment, but I aspire to. So I really like living vicariously through yours. I know that's what most of them are really saying. And that's okay, because that's my goal, is to inspire other people to be who they really are. And I tell my kids all the time, you don't even have to put my name, because it doesn't matter. Loudmouth, Adam, whatever. You don't have to put my name on my tombstone when I pass away, but you better, without a shadow of a doubt, right, he did it. So that 150 years from now, when nobody would even remember my name or who I am anyway, they can still walk by that tombstone and be inspired to whatever it is for them, and do it too.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So in some of these interviews, I talk to people about, like, sort of mission orientation and what it is you want to, not so much want to be remembered for, but just like what it is, the impact you're trying to have, right? And it is very clear that this is an authentic mission for you, and a genuine passion for you. I think I may have even heard you mention that about the tombstone, and he did it before, but it's pretty awesome, man. It's very inspiring, that thought of, like, letting go of the inhibition, as long as you know that what you're doing in the world is right, and leaving a good impact, right? Because there are plenty of people who have no shame, right? There's a difference between having no inhibition and no shame.
You want to find that space, come hang out with DJs, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, right, yeah. But again, that's why, like, the tribe works so well, like you're saying, is that you got a lot of people who do, like, legitimately have no shame. They're not outright criminals or whatever. Please, let's get rid of that myth, right?
But they're not going to fake who they are for somebody or society, right? There's a lot of people that we walk by and deal with every day in our everyday lives that they're not really being who they are. There's always these double-sided and 2 sides to this and 3 sides to this. Like, man, life is so short. It's way too short to be something that you're not. It's exhausting, right? And I tried that the first part of my life. I had no identity, didn't know who I was, and I ran around trying to be something that I was not. and it was exhausting. It was very tiresome, and it drove me to a lot of things that were not good for me. Right. So, like alcohol, pills, drugs, things like that. And I know some of that stuff could be good medicine, and some of it can be, with certain self-control, it could be amazing. And I'm not here to judge anybody. As you know, you've watched me for over 2 years. I don't have judgment like that in my heart. I want to just love on people and let them know that they matter, and let them know that there is another choice, and that you have options, and that life is choice. Life is free will and your choice. And that's an amazing thing. And so my goal is just to like cheer people on and watch them win. I want to promote and help other people as much as possible, because I've done that kind of stuff already. And I think that the grind is kind of from hell, right? It's like a dog chasing its tail. You'll never catch it. If you run around chasing dreams or money or aspiration, you're never going to catch what you're chasing. You just take your rightful position, your identity, and let it come to you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, so there's a lot of people who will hear that and they'll think like, that doesn't feel actionable for me, or it doesn't feel attainable for me. One of those two things, right? Like you were saying before, this person who sees you with the flashy shoes and compliments you, what they're really saying is like, man, I wish that I had less inhibition about doing that myself. And then there are other people who just don't see a way to express more, right? Or to discover a bit of an identity, like how you mentioned earlier in your life, feeling like you didn't really know, and then stepping into that identity. Some people say stepping into your power. That sounds kind of new agey, right? Stepping into identity.
I never fit in, and I always took that as a bad thing. It was like the thing that would destroy me. Like I always wanted to compromise who I was to get people to like me and accept me, right? Because I didn't know who I was. So then doing that, you get to this place where it's exhausting, and you don't like you because you're not being you. And so then you go try to find whatever can fill that void to line you back up, or to numb yourself because you don't like you, because everything you say gains or loses trust. Everything you do gains or loses trust, even with you. And so you lose trust in yourself because you know you're not being who you really are. And so you have to come to a place where you don't care what other people think, and not in a way that's like, I don't care about nobody else, what they think. It's like, if you don't see what I see in me, it's okay. But I'm not going to change who I am for you, because you obviously don't understand who you are, or you're not supposed to be doing life with me. So I'm going to go find the person that does and be me, and it'll attract everybody I'm actually supposed to do life with and who I'm supposed to be with, because it's all about that connection and relationship, because people matter the most. They have the real value there. So when I got to a place where I was okay and found out who I was, then I realized I wasn't created to fit in. And that's why I never did. I was actually created to stand out, because you can't lead what you're just alike. You have to take the momentum of when it feels like the whole world is coming against you, and just turn around and say, follow me. And the thing that tries to take you out and kill you is actually what will catapult you forward in life and give you the success. So now I get to just be who I am. And if people don't like my hat, don't like it. Keep it moving, bro. And if you do, let's go. Let's freaking go, baby. Where are we at? We outside.
Nice. So let's yeah. I mean, and yeah, you can't.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Thing on that. I think that I'm 44 years old, right? And I've been through a lot, done a lot. I know everybody's got their war stories, but I will give this advice, and I hope people write it down and believe it as straight gospel. I've never had one conversion of me compromising who I am to get someone to like me, and it worked. Ever. It can maybe stall a little bit. It can give false hope, but I've never made someone that doesn't like me. Unless they didn't like me based on what someone else had told me, and they really don't know me yet, or they haven't met me. Right. I'm never convinced. There's people you just run into, and you just ain't vibing with those people, and they might be okay, and you might be okay, and nobody did anything wrong, but it just don't click. It ain't working. And that's, instead of us believing that people's our enemy, why don't we just think, well, that's not for me. And that's okay. It's okay if we're not supposed to be doing stuff together. You're not supposed to do business with everybody or do life with everybody. You find the ones that want to and do it with them forever, or for that season that you're in. And so
Yes.
I've never had
Yeah.
one conversion. So don't try. It won't work.
Yeah.
It will not
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, I love that you brought up like seasons, right, for certain things too, because there are times in seasons where the answer is just not now, and it might not be no forever, but it's just like it's just not working then, and maybe the time is later. So I really appreciate that what you're saying. As far as like reputation management, you brought that up. You brought up like, okay, occasionally like you don't get a conversion from trying to be somebody else for other people, right? Try to impress other people. Other than when there's just somebody putting in overtime to be a busybody, right? And make your life hard. Because I know you deal primarily with people. How do you, I mean, give us some alpha, Loud. Give us some alpha on how you manage that. Because there are some people who will, for whatever reason, they just feel like they've got to put in unpaid overtime to interfere. How do you approach that?
Well, one thing that I do is I try to stay in a place of love towards them, which is easier said than done. And a lot of people don't even really know how to do that. And I'm still learning, so I'm not perfect by any means. But I know that if I start focusing on other people and what they're doing or what they're not doing, I'm never going to be able to focus on what I'm supposed to do. So that takes away the success right there. Like I see a lot of times in business, here's an example of people suing other people over lost things. Or, you ever heard the saying, don't cry over spilt milk? That's what almost every lawsuit is about. Well, now you took all my focus off of what I was actually doing to try to gain something I feel like I lost. Well, it's lost. And so even if you did get it back, you just had to earn it all back again. So if you would just focus on what you're supposed to do and don't worry about that type of stuff, you would gain more than you'll ever try to get back that someone thinks they took from you or you think they took. Because you can't take anything that's actually mine. It's impossible, right? It wasn't supposed to be mine if you could take it, and vice versa, because everything that's mine is mine, right? And I don't want all the success and relationships and money in the world, but everything that's mine, I want it. I want everything that's mine. And so if you can just focus on that, then that helps. And then when people try to come, you just got to know that they don't really understand or know who they are, or they would never do those things. So you got to love them into that place to where they can see that success. If they want that help, if they can receive that help. If not, you're not the guy for them, and you just got to let them keep it moving and stay in a good heart posture towards them and focus on what you're doing. And I think that's the best way. If that makes any sense.
No, it does make a lot of sense, right? And then other people would say, at least in business, it's kind of a quip, right? Kind of a quippy thing to say, but killing with kindness, right? The whole though that's sometimes used to be like, kind of be backhanded, right? With compliments. That's kind of what some people mean when they say that, killing with kindness, where it's like, I want to give you a compliment, and because I know it's tearing, I'm twisting the knife when I do something nice for you because you don't like me. It's like,
yes, that's really not a good thing. It's
no.
Being nice, and nice is not always a good thing, right? Nice guys finish last for a reason, right? Because they're up to something and they have an ulterior motive. Kindness is who you are. Nice is an act. Well, I just told you a whole generation is starving for authenticity. We don't need nice. I don't want nice. I don't want you to be nice to me, because nice is up to something. Nice is being a certain way to me to get something from me. It's not love, because love doesn't seek its own, for one. And two, you can take it away. If I'm kind, it's who I am. So whether you're giving me flowers or you're cussing me out, it doesn't change who I am. I'm a kind person. If I'm nice, it's according to how you treat me. So that could be a trouble, and up to something. Like nice is the weird dude that lives in the apartment complex that has a crush on the hot girl, and he flattens the tire so he can show up the next day and be the nice guy that fixes it.
Ooh, yeah, that's pretty involved, man. Yeah, I don't think anybody would use that guy as a fundamentally good person, right? Like
he won't
whether or not
he's going to finish last because of his ulterior motive is the point of doing it. Like nice is more than likely an act. It's not kindness. Kindness is who you are, and that's a trait of who you are. Nice is I'm being nice to this guy. And if you really stop and think about every opportunity that you say, be nice, or I was nice to them, you don't give a crap about them. You cared about what you wanted. that's why you were nice. So nice will get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tricky balance though, right? Being able to still perform, what's the word I'm looking for here? To be selfless, right? Like you need to be in a position to be selfless. Otherwise you can't spare yourself, right? For certain people, right? You have to be focused on what you need in life.
When I'll teach finance to some of the college people, we house a lot of students here because we're right next to a college. And so I'll teach some young guys and stuff, business and finance and stuff. One of the first things I'll ask, or if I'm teaching in a classroom setting or something, I would say, all right, who woke up this morning and thought, how can I pay somebody's car payment? And I've never had anybody raise their hand.
Right. Yeah.
And my next follow-up question is, you want to know why? Because you're still worried about how you're going to pay yours. So it's hard to be in a place to think that way when you're still trying to figure out yours. Every time we fly on an airplane, they say it every single time. You must put your oxygen mask on first before you try to assist other people, because it's extremely hard to help choking people while you're choking. But if you can breathe, oh, buddy, I can pop everybody's mask on. So if my car payment is taken care of, if my house is paid, my light bills are done, my food is full of belly, or my belly's full, my food is in the cupboard, I can start to think now, how can I help somebody else? So it is a phase and a season that you have to get to there, but it's a mindset too. You have to get to that place where you're okay, and then you can thrive, because as long as you're just trying to survive, you'll never thrive. It's hard to dream when your water ain't clean, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. So let's go back through and try to identify some big wins and milestones in your life that helped you know that sort of confirmed for you that you were on this path of being able to get past survival mode and to thrive enough that you could be uplifting to other people, and you could start to be outwardly focused in terms of giving that net uplift to people around you. Because it sounds like, based on what I'm hearing, it sounds like when you were able to get to that point in your life, that helped you even more. Like without it being a selfish thing, it sounds like, based on what I know of you and what I've heard, it sounds like you view that phase of life as being even more rich and rewarding to you than it was to anybody else. But it sounds like ideologically, still the emphasis was on other people. So you weren't focused on what you needed. It just kind of came to you more. What were some big milestones for you that helped you know, like, yes, I can do this, and I can get through this season of only focusing on, like maybe just what my family needs, or maybe just what I need. And now I can assure that everybody who I'm responsible for is provided for, and I can start to turn out and try to uplift other people. What were some steps that helped you know that you were on the right path and that kind of propelled you more?
That's a very challenging question, and yet a great one as well. So thank you for that. You make me think, right? You're mining my mind right now. So I would think that the first step to that was I had to get to a place where I knew who I was, to get my mind off of me. Right? If I'm focused on me, all I'm going to find is what I'm looking for. And in a place of survival is not a lot of good things, right? So I'm self-consumed, and we weren't created for ourselves. We were created for others. So as long as I'm self-consuming, I have no self-control, and I'm dangerous to myself, and therefore no help to anyone else. So first off, I had to find out who I was and my identity. And that happened when I was 25 years old, when I had an encounter with Jesus. And I say that to not trigger anybody, but this is my story, my testimony. And I can't argue theology with everybody, but you can argue back and forth and debate that stuff, but you can't argue my story. I'm telling you what really happened. Like, I had an encounter with him, and then I started to read the Bible, and I realized that wasn't a book of thou shalt not. It's like I was taught or heard or seen, because I wasn't raised in church. I didn't know anything about that stuff to an extent. You hear a little bit here and there, but I just thought it was a bunch of rules you had to follow and stuff that you had to do to try to get a good, good pennant or be, do the right thing or be nice, get a check mark.
It was get a gold star at Sunday school. Yeah.
It was just religion and manipulation and control. And those people were, most of them that I had seen were just a bunch of phonies anyway, because they'd go to church on Sunday and then live like hell Monday through Saturday. So their life didn't look any better than mine. Why would I want to listen to them? So I had an encounter with him at 25 when I said, if you're real, you're going to have to show me, because can't anybody tell me nothing. I mean, I'm this big 300-pound drug dealer that was taking girls to strip clubs and having them work and giving me the money and treating people like trash and thought I was a gangster. I grew up with no identity whatsoever. No father, no, mother working 3 jobs at once. It was just a mess. I had to grow up really quick. All right. And I know everybody's got a sad story, so I'm not trying to compare that. I'm just trying to give context of how lost and wild I was and had no identity. So when I found out that the Bible wasn't a book of thou shalt nots, it actually was a book of thou shalt haves, and it actually shared my identity and who I was and what I was created for, it changed my mind. And then when my mind changed, then my bank account changed. I was a great drug dealer because I was actually created to be good in business, right? But I didn't know. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. And I was always told, you're a troublemaker. You're going to end up in jail. You're going to this, you're that, So I believed every.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt real fast, but because we've got this little thing going on where you'll snip tiny sound bites of crypto Wendio, and you'll use them out of context just for kicks. I'm just warning you, there may or may not be some responses to you on Twitter where I just have a video saying, man, that was a great drug dealer.
I think that would be amazing. Hilarious. Because I'll take sound bites by Wendio and she'll go, I do not like this, or let's go, or yes, or you cannot participate because you don't have any money. So I deserve that if that comes in. So but
I might only happen once, but I'm giving you fair warning.
All right, good idea. But I was a pretty good drug dealer because I was created to be a pretty good business person. And so when I found out what I was supposed to do and who I was, I became a multimillionaire doing the right thing. Way more money than I ever did in my drug career. And I stopped hurting people because I was hurting, right? And so hurt people become healed people that help hurt people become healed. And most people will say hurt people, but they leave it at that. I didn't want to leave it at that because it would have been a miserable life at that, right? So
it kind of erases your choice, doesn't it? When people talk that way, they make it sound like all there is a cycle of abuse and nobody can escape it.
So where's the hope, right? And most people are in that place because they've lost all hope. So I want to be hope. I was a dope dealer, and now I believe I'm a hope dealer, right? But that's a choice because most religions will preach Jesus as a wife beater. Basically the same characteristics. I'm going to beat you into loving me and submission, and you're going to do what I say, or I'll whip your ass, right? Like basically, I'll throw you in a pit and burn you forever. That's not the truth. I read it because I don't believe nobody what they say until I've seen it myself. That's not in there. I read it over and over and over again. I'm still going to read it for the rest of my life. That ain't there. He's love, and love doesn't seek its own, and love is a choice. The whole reason he gave us choice is because he wanted us to choose to love him back. Not because he made us. He doesn't want robots, and he's not going to beat us into submission. He literally just loves and loves and loves us until we fall in love with the one who loved us first. And so when I found out all this crap that people were saying was a big old fat lie, and that's not the truth at all, I was like, he is so misrepresented. That's so horrible, right? When our whole goal is to manifest his glory and who he is on the earth through us. Like that, I can't find another reason why we're here other than to show who he is, taking the invisible world to make it invisible, or making the invisible visible. That's why we're here. I can't find another reason why. So we shouldn't say hurt people to hurt people and just leave it at that. We say, hurt people will hurt people, but then they become healed people and they can help hurt people become healed. And so I wanted to be the change that I wanted to see. I wanted to become the dad that I wanted to have. I wanted to become the husband that I never seen happen, right? Like I wanted to be all the things that I needed. And so once I found that out and became that, I'm doing my best not to cry on your show. So,
well, disclaimer: I've seen you cry IRL, and I know that it's not an act, man. I know this is really on your heart. I know this is really something that you don't just wear it like a mask. This is who you really are.
I have no other motive, right? I don't ask people for anything. Like I want to leave no room for people to think that I'm just up to something. And I'm not looking for conversions or to build a church either. Like if you don't believe like me, I'm not done with you, right? I hate the world that we think we have to live in, that we can only go to barbecues with people that voted like us or that believe like us. That's why I want to be the change I want to see. That's why I'm in the middle of this degen crazy wild world. I'm probably one of the only people that will be at a party in Denver all night long, getting offered drugs and everything you can imagine, with girls dancing on a bar, jump on an airplane, fly across the country in the same red eye, the same staying open awake, pick up my family, and then go to a church service that morning, right? And I'm not saying that because thinking that I'm better than anybody. I'm just like saying, like, I don't want to become this guy that just goes to a church and thinks that's not it at all. If you think repeating a prayer and becoming a Christian and then waiting to die to go to heaven is Christianity, then Jesus isn't even your savior. Death is. You're waiting to die. You're waiting for death to save you, which is not the truth. You believe that lie that you've been taught, right? Like people they just believe what everybody says, or they just get in the routine, the habit, and they don't even think about what they think about or say, right? They say, oh, it's flu season. Well, I'm going to buy this Robitussin. And then by faith, they took a step of faith to get sick. They believe that. When I realized that you didn't have to do that, and life and death in the power of the tongue, and as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I haven't got sick since. I don't, because if Robitussin, if the flu season's going around, it's allowed to go right around my home. It's not allowed in my home. It's not allowed here. And I can only share the testimony that when I stopped believing I was going to get sick, because I used to be sick all the time when I was a kid, I stopped. So our mind is very powerful. And I'm not saying that sickness doesn't exist. We live in a fallen world and it does, right? But until I started to learn these truths and identities about me, I never could get to a place where I was any better or more than self-consuming. Well, then I found out that there is somebody that the Bible tells you're supposed to control. And it's called self-control. And so the only person that I am accountable for and to control is me. And I was totally out of control. So is that Mimi?
No, it's not. I was preparing a visual aid really fast. I had something flashing on screen, and
you look like you.
But no, no, thankfully not yet. Later on today, if I slough off family time, I will be in trouble. But that's not for a while.
So I just want to be a person that people know I'm a safe place, and they can be who they are. Because how many parents want to change their kids? How many people want to change their friends and coworkers and bosses, and just people in society, period, is always just trying to change somebody. And I want you to choose to change you, because maybe you see something in me that inspires you to want to be a better you. You can't be like me. So I don't aspire to get you to try to be like me. Like if everybody ran around with flashy shirts and captain hats on, it would be weird, right? And more weird than
it would just become normal. It was
right. And then that's not
unique
the point, right?
Yeah.
God, we are all God's NFTs, and we're all supposed to be unique, and that's okay. And the faster we recognize that, the more we can come to a place where the backbiting, the people going overtime to try to keep you from success, that all goes away, because they actually find out who they are, and then they can be busy with their purpose rather than trying to stop you from yours to justify why they don't have theirs. So I think that we got to walk in love in that sense. If a blind person kept bumping into stuff, I wouldn't yell at him and say, "You idiot, you keep knocking into all this stuff." I recognize that he's blind because I'm not. So therefore I go and ask him if I can assist him, grab his hand, walk him through, say, "Hey, watch out for that." I don't get mad. So if people are blind and don't see the truth, and then they try to come talk bad about you or against you or do something that's hurtful, it's probably because they don't know who they are, right? And so if you get mad at them, then you're just as blind, in my opinion, right? So I think
if you stay mad, I think to initially, I mean, because we don't have any accounts of any in the scriptures, don't have accounts of Jesus stubbing his toe. We don't know whether or not he cussed stubbing his toe or shaving off a piece of his knuckle while he was working on furniture. There's no accounts of that. Right.
So if we don't see it, then we shouldn't see it in our life. And if we do see it in our life, then we have to believe that his grace and mercy can get us there, right? And we have to at least aspire for that. So, and we're not supposed to focus on what we're not. We're supposed to focus on where we want to go. If I'm driving down the road, they're like 11 feet lines, right? Well, the car's not that big, but it gives you room to kind of weave in and out. But they are there to keep you from the ditch, all right? And if I focused on don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree, I'm probably going to hit the tree or the pole because that's what I'm focused on. So if I focus on staying on the road, guess what I'm going to do? Stay on the road. So where do you want to go? Focus on that, and don't let any naysayers, backbiters, or any noise, all the noise around you keep you off course. Like if we're running a race, it says that we shed all the things, all the weight off of us to run a good race. Because if I told you to grab 45-pound dumbbells and then race against me, you have a big disadvantage. All right.
I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about my chances even carrying.
You're pretty big.
I train a lot.
But if you're going to run a race, you want to be as light as possible, right?
Yes, sir.
We're running a race in life that we want to endure to the end, and not to beat the person on the right or the left, but to beat yesterday in your life. Like, so that means competition is not even real.
Sure. Other than whatever in the racing games, right? Your previous lap ghost or whatever, like you're saying.
Yeah, we've perverted competition. An original competition comes from comp theos, means to conspire together to win. So I'm going to run faster, not to beat you that's beside me, but because you're beside me. So we're as iron sharpens iron, we're actually making each other better by living our lives in unity and community and friendship and life, right? Like we were created for each other. I think that's the whole reason God designed us to have to eat, because without it, think about what our society would be, if any. All right. Like, it's the gathering of that really creates government. Everything comes from a base. Like Freud says something about like everything is unconsciously sexually motivated. It's actually, I think it's unconsciously food motivated, because that's what everything is there, right? Everything.
I don't know. Sorry, Freud for me, like, because I went through the phase in college for a short time. Like, I'm gonna check out psychology. I want to learn about how people perceive themselves. Yeah. So Freud is that guy. Geez, he did not have a normal upbringing, and he was not well. I'm just gonna say, like, he popularized some ideas that were damaging, man. Seriously.
For sure.
Anyway, yeah.
So but I just think that's great. I think that if we realize that people's not our enemy, we learn who we are, we figure out that, and then understand where everybody else is at in life, then we can focus on where we're going, not let that noise get us off track, and then we actually can start helping other people do that. Because when I take my eyes off of me, then all my stuff disappears. And then I got to believe that doing life through community, people is going to come around and help me with the things I can't see if I'm worried and if I'm helping other people with them, right? So like, I got to keep myself in good company so that if you as a father see me do something that I might not see from the inside looking out, you're from the outside looking in, I got to know that you are not against me, you're for me, and that you might bring something to my attention because you love me and care about me, not because you want me to not get something or do something, right? And so if I know, regardless of what my feelings in the moment might be saying, I've got to know Seth is for me. He loves me. He cares about me. He cares about my family. I know what he's saying. There has to be a truth in that. So then I can kind of shake myself and say, all right, hey, maybe there's something I'm not seeing here. And then actually like have a heart posture to receive what you're saying. And still doesn't mean I have to do what you say, but at least take that understanding of, hey, maybe he's seeing something I'm not, because I'm not focusing on me, I'm focusing on others. And then through that, we build that relationship of, honoring each other and caring for each other, because there's some things that we don't see. I can go help tons of people in tons of areas and can't help myself in that area, right? You weren't designed to. You were designed to let someone else assist you in that, so you could build that relationship, right? So we're not even supposed to be perfect in this life. We were made perfect. Then we made a decision not to be, and then he made a way to make us perfect because of what he did, not what we did. And so
it's amazing, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you, and you'll notice I don't get tired of hearing you talk about your testimony. I think we've had some pretty in-depth conversations off camera, right? Where that I'm on a very different journey personally. But I respect the authenticity of you saying.
Just to give you a heads up, Seth has put his trust in. Would you like to talk about our Lord and Savior Buddha?
No.
I don't know what he's doing, and it doesn't matter because I love him. And Jesus didn't come to bring religion. He came to bring right relationship. He actually came in to abolish religion, and religious people killed him for it. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the religious leaders, right? They had some small part in that, right? But
a little bit.
So yeah, right. Yeah. So on that note, though, I really appreciate that you go through that, because the cornerstone of all that was the question, right? How do you feel like people take those steps for self-discovery? And it sounds like for you, this was such a powerful experience for you. It's such a powerful formative thing for you that if you didn't mention it, you'd be doing people a disservice, because this is true for you, right? This is the true way that you did come to discover yourself.
Yeah. First step is you got to find out who you are. You have to find out who you are. If you don't know who you are, there's no way you can help anybody else. You can't even help yourself. And that's not a selfish thing. To help yourself, to be in a good place. If you're not healthy, you cannot bring health to people. You can't. You just can't. If you're broke, how are you going to help other people with their finances? You don't go to the homeless guy and say, I really need help balancing this checkbook. Right. So you have to see something in somebody's life and say, I aspire to have something similar to that in my life. And then you first believe I need help in that area. And then you find someone that you say, and I believe they can help me in that area. And so there's your first two steps to even getting any type of help.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So self-discovery, and then identifying good mentorship, because it sounds like some pretty important things. I've heard some people say, like, oh yeah, the first time I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, that was a big turning point for me. Maybe they already felt like they on their faith journey kind of had a basis for their faith.
All of his content, it's all in the Bible. A lot of it's in Proverbs. There's 31 chapters. You can read one every day. And like Jim Rohn, all of that, Jim Rohn even credited a lot. That's where he got that information.
It's all Zig Ziglar also, that greatest to ever sell, some say.
It's my hero. There's only one person that could ever walk this planet besides Jesus that I could say that's somebody I would aspire to be like, and he'd be like my hero. There was no athlete I could ever say, no star, celebrity. Zig Ziglar. He loved Jesus, and he loved helping people, and he understood sales, and he knew that the world went round because of it.
Book recommendation, by the way. Yeah, since we're on the topic, and I don't know why your audio is kind of cutting out a little bit. It's been a little.
Sorry, is it better?
It's kind of quiet. Well, it's weird actually. It was a second there.
Trusting 1, 2.
Perfect. All right. So book recommendation though. And let's go do a speed round here. Book recommendations. You mentioned Zig, that you're a fan. He wrote something called What I Learned on the Way to the Top, and it's designed to be read 1 page a day, and it's literally just a paragraph. In some cases, it's like 2 or 3 paragraphs. A lot of them also are accompanied by a Bible verse. So if you want to go read that Bible verse, you can do that too. But that's one from Zig Ziglar, and it doesn't have anything to do with any one thing, because like you said, he presented as who he was, and it's all, take it or leave it. It's all interconnected, right? So each page was just what he learned that he knew would help somebody unilaterally across the board, right, for their whole life.
Yeah.
But What I Learned on the Way to the Top by Zig Ziglar.
Because what works for me might not work for you. You're different, right? But you can take whatever did work for me and apply it to your life in your way, and then it could, right? Like, so that's why I say, oh, this worked, now you need to do it. Like, it don't work like that. You even siblings weren't even raised by the same parents. And what I mean by that is those parents, you got multiple kids, you treat every kid differently. You love them the same, but every kid has to be parented differently, and you're at a different stage in your life according to their age, and you're in a different stage in your marriage according to their age. No kid gets the same parents. I don't care what you say. There's no way, because you're a different person, and you're different to each one because they're different person or people, right? So
you
got to find it within yourself. It's in you.
Yeah, absolutely. So additional resources though, what are some, you mentioned the book of Proverbs, and you mentioned that if a person wanted to take that, bite size, right? Like, and just go one proverb per day, right? Or essentially a chapter per day. And every month you're able to read through Proverbs and have that be like a really great basis. I'm trying to remember who it was that I read from that they admitted that the basis for sort of their business sort of hypothesis, the thesis on business and how to conduct themselves, that they pretty much just took it from Proverbs. It might have been a motivational speaker that was not Tony Robbins.
If you wanted the best business advice, wouldn't you go to the wisest person that ever stepped foot on the planet? Well, according to the Bible, the guy that wrote Proverbs was the wisest person ever to live. I'd probably go listen to that dude. And if every successful person that is implementing his systems, hello, it's like a lot of people will say, I pray to the universe. Well, you can just go straight to the creator of it. Why would you go talk to the universe? You're going to be like, I'm going to go talk to the second in charge. If you had access to the first, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's basically a free book, #1 seller in the entire world in history. And it's right there available. So everything you see in my life or any of those people's life, it's available to you. Just go get it. Go figure it out. Like, people spend so much money going to all those things and to get those things. And if that's what they believe it needs to happen, then rock it out. But you can go get it absolutely free in 1 month, be all the way through it. And then you're going to want to do it again and again, because the more you eat, the hungrier you get in that space. Like,
yeah. Okay. All right. So we got a quick hack there, right? Go to the source. So
yeah, because the first $1 million, if you're wanting to make money, the first $1 million is the hardest to make. Not because the money's hard to make, because then you can make the second, third, fourth, fifth. Once you figure out how to do it, you got it, right? But the person you have to become to make the first $1 million takes so long. So it's becoming who you need to be to get to that place. And then you got it, right?
Let's talk about that for just a minute. And what are some of the attributes of that person that in your journey, because like you mentioned, it's going to be different for everybody, but in your journey, what were some of the attributes that you felt like, okay, things are not working out? Like, I'm not finding that I'm attracting the right talent, the right partnerships, the right conditions, the right offers. I'm not getting the right offers. I'm not thinking about this correctly. Whatever it was not clicking for you as you were on your way towards earning that first $1 million, but secretly becoming the person that could. What were some attributes that you found you had to acquire, even still being who you are, right? But acquiring these attributes and building yourself up and really getting to know who you are as a business person and maybe investor. What were a couple of those things that come to mind for you?
The number one reason, that's the number one that comes to my mind, the very first. Like, when you ask questions, usually the most authentic thing pops first. That's the one. Like, the thing that makes you angry in life, the one that's like that really burns you up. That's probably why you were created to help solve that. That's why it bothers you so much, right? That's why people start orphanages and and do this. And like, most inventions come because they were angry or upset about that situation. So that means you have the ability to change that in your world, in your life, right? That's the inspiration, right? But the number one thing, circle back on that, is my why. I had to find out why I wanted to make $1 million first, right? Because if you don't remember why, you'll quit, because you have to be almost insane to do some of the things and to become who you need to become to do it. Because if you don't remember why you started, you'll stop, you'll quit. So you can't be consistent unless you want to be a consistent quitter. if you don't remember why. So you have to remember why you started in the first place. And then 2, you have to drown out all the noise, because everybody's going to tell you what they think. It's the typical story of the David and Goliath. David shows up to serve other people, and they start immediately hounding him and diminishing who he is and why, and then questioning his motives, why he's even there. Would you just come to see the action? What are you doing here? You're just a little boy. Shouldn't you be back tending those few little sheep? So they demeaned him. They questioned his motive, and he was there. Literally, his why was, I was going to honor my dad and bring you guys lunch. That's what I was asked to do. And I made sure that everybody was taking care of my stuff, my few sheep, before I left. So I didn't leave that abandoned either. So I was a man of integrity and responsibility, because your responsibility just means your response according to your ability. And that's where his ability was at the moment. So he responded in the right way. And then he got there. They immediately tried to demean him, talk him out, and question his motive. And then he asked, what's going on? And then they told him, and they've been sitting there 40 days. And he's like, it just hit him like he didn't even think about it. It's like, do you all forget who you are? Do you all not know your identity? Do you not know that that's a uncircumcised Philistine, and that you serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that controls everything? Are you kidding me? And they're like, if this little, like, you're just a boy, right? Like, nah, they try to talk him out of what he thinks is easy, but because they are deflecting off him. If he does this, it takes their excuse away of why they've been afraid, right? The little brother did something. So when you're going after something, everybody that doesn't believe they can do it is going to try to talk you out of it because they can't. Yeah. But they weren't designed to do that. He was. And his test. So then he starts asking, well, what's it pay? So now he's negotiating a deal. He's like, what's it pay? And they're like, well, your father's house is tax-free for the rest of your life, and you get the king's daughter. Well, he had already been prophesied he was supposed to be king. So he's like, well, this is my destiny. This is my destination, what I'm supposed to do. And then he starts to remember what has happened before. Oh, I killed a lion and I killed a bear. And the same way I did that, and the same God that delivered me through that is going to do the same thing to this. It's just the same thing at a different capacity in my life. And so, boom. So now when they figure out, all right, we couldn't convince him. We couldn't get other people to think differently by questioning his motives. We couldn't convince him not to do it. We couldn't demean him to not think he could do it. Like, he's going to do it. Like, we can't talk this kid out of this. What's the next thing they did? They tried to tell him how to do it. Well, they couldn't do it. How in the world is we supposed to take advice from you, bro? If you knew how to do it so well, why didn't you just do it? So they're like, here, put on the king's army or the armor. Well, Saul was a head taller than everybody else from shoulder up of everybody else in the entire kingdom. Well, that was way too big for David. It says he was a small, ruddy man. Like, he was a small little redheaded kid. Like he couldn't fit in the armor, and he couldn't do it that way because that's not the way God did it. That just was the best way for one of them if they were to do it. If they were trying to convince him how to do it. And so he's like, I can't do it that way. Takes it off. He's like, I got to do it the same way that I've done it before. And then he goes out and he speaks exactly what he said he's going to do. So he spoke it. He write the vision, make a plan. He knew he had a vision. He knew where he was going, where he was headed. Nobody could convince him otherwise. He was going to get a great payday, and it was going to bring him into his destiny. And so he told the giant had an armor bearer in front of him, and this dude. So he was 9 foot tall plus another guy in front of him, right? David swung a rag on a rock, bow, cracked him right in his head. Said he fell forward and fell straight forward. Sunday school, it's hard to teach little kids this, but the rock didn't kill the giant. Sorry to bust your bubble.
right. No.
The rock knocked him out. The strongest tactical warfare is to take the enemy's weapon and use it against him to defeat him. So David ran over, put his foot on that giant, pulled the giant's sword out, and chopped his head off. And then came back holding that head in victory, right? And that wasn't even the real fight for David, though, because the next 17 years, Saul tried to kill him and was holding his actual position of destiny. But what that story does tell me is giants do die. So whatever giant is going on in your life, people are going to question your motives. They're going to try to talk you out of it. And then when they can't convince you not to do it, they're going to try to tell you how to do it. And you can't listen to none of those things because they weren't called to do it. And when most of the time when people say they're proud of you, they're just saying, I'm surprised.
Yeah. I definitely hear that. And when people are honest enough to just tell you, I'm surprised that you made things work. Here's what I take away from what you just shared, Lad. Most people, they look at the story of David and they think, and we love to say, oh, it's David versus Goliath, as though this kid wasn't proven. This was a hat trick. This wasn't his first time. It wasn't his first rodeo. It wasn't his first time killing something really dangerous with, like you said,
actually designed. He was designed to do it.
Yeah.
So whatever you were designed to do is a hat trick. Like, you are really good at what you do because you were designed to do it. And it looks really hard for me. And if I tried to be like you, I would be an epic failure because I'm not designed to do what you do. I'm designed to be me, and you're designed to be you. And we've got to realize that we're supposed to do that together and be better because of it.
Yeah. And you're so for the audience, anybody who doesn't speak hockey, hockey-ese, hat trick just means third time, right? It's a third time hitting that goal, right?
Charm. 3 in a row, baby.
Yeah. And so for David, right? Like, what I think is, and what I love about you sharing that, right? And is that I think of how there were so many other ways in which he was prepared. Like you said, like these people that kind of mocked him a bit and tried to dissuade him and then tried to prescribe to him how to do it, that they were telling him to do it a certain way, but that he had been prepared in so many other ways. And while he was visualizing what he was going to do, the reason he could visualize it so clearly is because he had done it, not with a giant, not with a man. He done it with the animals that were far more dangerous, right, than people, right? Like, a wild bear, like a black bear, good luck. As soon as it feels like it wants to fight you, you have to fight back, and you're probably not going to win, period.
But they were trying to fight this dude with like spears and stuff like that. Like, if I gave you a gun, wouldn't you be braver than everybody else?
You should be, right? Yeah.
Well, he could swing that rag and rock and shoot it out like a 22 caliber bullet.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that big a deal to him. Like, you can't, I don't care how big of an animal or big of a guy or anybody, if you pull a gun out, it don't matter how big you are. Pop, pop. Like, he knocked him out. And then he went and chopped his head off with his own sword. And that's the strongest tactical warfare. And that's also a type and shadow of Jesus, because Jesus took the enemy's weapon, death, and defeated death with death. He literally he murdered death with death. Like, because it says the wages of sin is death. So the wage is what you're owed by doing something. Jesus never sinned, so that when he died, when they killed him, death had no legal right to hold him. When it went on trial, he had to be set free. He was totally set free, like not guilty. We owe him no wage. Death owes him no wage because he never sinned. We can't keep him here. So it had to let him go. It had to release him. So he literally took the enemy's weapon and chopped his head off with him. And then it says our whole hope as believers in Jesus in that is that we will believe that just as God raised Jesus from the dead, he'll also do that for us, because Jesus gave us his perfect sinless life. So death will have no legal right to hold us down. It has to let us go. So that's where you get the verse of, oh, death, where's your sting? Oh, grave, where's your victory? It has none anymore. Sucker. Like, we laugh in the face of death because it can't hold us, because we're perfect and sinless, because Jesus gave us his life. It was that beautiful exchange. So the cross doesn't show me that I'm a worthless sinner. It actually shows me that I'm a really valued son, that heaven was willing to go bankrupt to pay the price to get me back, to bring right relationship back to the Father.
Nice.
That's the good news.
That's awesome, man. And I love that. I love that you've been able to gosh, and I'm going to murder the quote. I feel really bad about this, but you've been able to give a reason for your faith. And I think that's really, really important. A lot of people, they don't, right? You've reasoned, you've worked this out right, between yourself. You worked out your salvation, right, yourself very clearly.
Well,
and you've had this conversation.
Until then, I wouldn't believe it. There's holes in everybody else's theory. There's flaws there, and most people that don't buy into that is because they see the holes, right? Same. Until I had the encounter, and then I tried to find out how I can fill these holes, because that can't be the truth. This can't be the truth. The way that regular Western civilization and Christianity goes is flawed and doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Literally, people will raise their hand, repeat a prayer, and then wait to die to go to heaven and think everything's good to go. Or they'll go, like, religion tells you all the things you got to do to try to get to God. But having a true relationship in the kingdom of God and sharing the good news is not what you have to do to get to God. It's actually what God did to get to you, because he loves you and he created you because you're his kid. Like, there's nothing my kid can do that makes me love them more or less, that makes me make them more or less than my kid. It's not based on their performance, but we live in a performance-based world that think we have to do all these penance and things. It just keeps you busy, right? Like you said, it's just busyness, right? It's not about being busy. Jesus told Martha that he said, you are so distracted by many things when there's just this one thing. You were created to do one thing, and you just have to have that discipline to do your one thing and do it well. And God doesn't love you any more or less because of your performance on it. You were created to do it. We don't send our boys to the military, in the military to war and say, bring your own bullets and tanks and fighter jets and camo and equip yourself while you're at it. You guys train. We fully train them and fully equip them, and then send them on a mission with everything they need to complete it, setting them up to win. Right. So if we would do that to our own military, what makes us think that the God of heaven and earth would not do that, fully equip us with everything inside of us that we would ever need to complete the mission here on earth in our life? That doesn't even make rational sense to think otherwise. And people travel the whole world trying to find what they think they need. And that goes back to why they're chasing things. Well, they're going to never catch it because they weren't designed to. He's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. That means that we're supposed to be King and Lords, that he's King and Lord over. Well, you tell me a story of a king or a lord or a queen leaving their throne to go find anything. They have it brought to them, or it comes to them. And not in a rule and reign, iron fist kind of way. It's everything in the kingdom gets brought before that king. So everything in your life is the kingdom in your life, your kingdom, your world, and everything should be brought to you when you're in alignment, when you're in a rightful position. But if you're running around, you've left your throne running around, you're going to miss everything that's coming to your throne for you, because you're trying to make it happen. You're trying to figure it out. You're trying to chase it. You're trying to catch it. And you won't catch. And you're a dog chasing its tail. You'll never catch it.
Yeah. So on that note, things that times and seasons, and having things come to you at the right time, and when you're ready. I feel like, based on the amount of time that we spent together in just talking in person, going to events together, seeing some of the work that you do, the consistency of showing up in this space in crypto. We're going to shift gears here a little bit, but I promise it's a great segue. As far as things being the right time, having something come to you. Yeah, well, here's the thing, man. If there are people who are not feeling it before, they're already gone. So, like, whatever. I'll link to the timestamp for those people.
But I'm telling you, it captures and captivates people because it's the oracles of God, and they've never heard it before like that. And I know this not based on my own assumption, but by all the feedback I've gotten for the last 19 years. It's mesmerizing to a lot of people, because it was mesmerizing to me. That's why it's so passionate and matters to me. But I know him, and knowing the Father is eternal life. That's the goal, is to know him. Him, right? People are trying to find out a way to know him. So,
yeah. Well, let's do this then. So I know that for you as a mission and as a focus, right, and as a passion, what you've been doing in the space, that you're attempting to be a bit of a light. Not so much like tell people that you're a light or tell them that they should believe that you're a light, but actually attempt to be something of a light, or reflect something of a light.
Shine bright and illuminate, right? You don't have to say, I'm a light. You just be a light, right?
Right. So I know it's been a focus of yours. And you've been working on something for a while. And I hinted at the beginning of the recording that I was excited to show what you've been working on. When we've talked about it, I've been telling you that I think this is an amazing thing that you are clearly feeling very called to do. And so I know you'll bring the passion that you have to this, and you'll make it something that I think is going to be really good. I think it's going to be really great because of that.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to talk about it. And
I forgot all about that. Right. Hey, listen, when people think of you, are reminded of you, whatever that thing is, that's what your main thing is. That's who you really are. Right. And if they don't think about you, then you haven't became of value or found that for their life. But whatever they remember you as, that's what your real value is. That's what you're adding to that person and that life, right? I see. I've got a bit of a branding problem because people just remember me as a smart ass, and then in a bad way, right? It's like this guy. I just left the ass part out though. I just remember you as smart. I remember you as a good dad and a good husband and a smart guy that is as gentle and kind. And I think that you're a pretty amazing dude.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. I think I still have a branding problem. We'll have to talk about that at a different time. You do paid mentorship, right? Maybe we'll have to book an hour separately. But let's talk about what you're focused on right now, because I think this is, I mean, really, I think that this is absolutely an expression of your zone of genius, right? If you know that kind of language, right? The Big Leap, right, by Gay Hendricks, another notable Christian guy who pursued a bit of a mission-focused business venture, something of a hybrid between thriving himself and having it be a bit of a ministry. I think you found your zone of genius personally in this new venture, and you're calling it PRODiGALX. Tell me about it.
So what I naturally have became in the crypto space, I didn't try to do that. It just happened. Because my 3 core values, I'll share those with you. And one I get from the great Zig Ziglar. And I've lived like that for years in my life. Number one is that I find lonely people and I don't leave them that way. That's the goal. That's one of my first core values. Second is help enough other people get what they want, and you'll never have to worry about what you want. And then the last one is I try to leave every place and every person better than I originally found it. And if you live by those 3 core values, I believe that it is impossible to fail. So you're going to win in whatever area in life that you're dealing with or doing. And so what I found over the last 2 years in Web3 space is, in Web 2, the real deals and business deals are done on the golf course, right? That's where the money's at. The real money's at, and the deals are going down, and people are getting to know. It takes a long time to play 9 holes, 18 holes on the course, and really get to know people. You get to see them in moments of, with their guard down, see them maybe in a little moment of frustration by not hitting the right thing.
Yeah.
And just
get to see how they handle failure. Yeah.
You get to see character, because I believe that time tells on everybody and everything. Like it's been over 2 years. It's been 2 years before you had me on your show, right? That means that you do your diligence. You've watched me and watched my life, watched my actions, and not just listen to my words. And you've done, because you have a fiduciary duty to the people that follow you and listen to what you have to say. You can't just let everybody have a microphone on your show, right? So kudos to you for doing that. I take that as honor, not disrespect at all. Some people could get upset, like, he's never had me on my show. I don't even think like that. And then when it does, I'm thinking, oh, he actually is doing what he should be doing, right? Like, you're protecting your people to bring them great value, right? So by you actually having me on the show and that taking time, it shows me you really believe in me and care about me. So you're not just some paid advertisement or sponsorship. So thank you for that. And that shows who you are as a man.
Thank you. On that note, I think we've probably run a really quick disclaimer. First off, none of what follows is financial advice. Also, I was not paid to talk about PRODiGALX and allowed. You didn't offer to pay me for this interview, right?
No, I didn't.
I didn't ask. And I didn't ask. Right?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Just wanted to make sure everyone got that very, very clear.
Well, everything that I say is financial advice. The only thing is the only question is, how good of financial advice is it? So, and it's still your choice. not me telling you to do it.
Right. And for me being on YouTube, the FTC requires me to tell you that this is not financial advice coming from me.
Gotcha. And it's not financial advice from him. He's doing everything he can to make sure that you're protected in any and every way. So thank you. And that was the whole point of my statement, right? Is you're doing a great job taking care of people. And that's why you're a popular channel and people love you, right? Because that's part of who you are. So through that, I found out that's where you really get to know people, and that's where the deals are done. But in Web3, what I found is the after party and the parties and the dinners are the actual golf course where the deals are done in Web3. It's not at the conference. It's not online. It's actually when people can go get to hang out and celebrate together and get to know each other, spend a lengthy amount of time together in a place that not everybody is going to be in the same mode that they were in conference mode or on a business call. You actually get to meet the real person over time, right? And so that's where a lot of the deals are done. That's where a lot of deals that I had made in the Web3 space were done, right? And so I thought, man, I became kind of the party guy and helped facilitate a lot of things. And then we're all in the same Discord with a lot of the top YouTubers and influencers and yourself. And so, you'll see a lot of time, hey, Loud, where are we going? Or Loud, where are you at? Or I'll say, here's where I'm at, or here's where the party is, right? And we throw some banger parties, right? And so I thought, well, I've done this for a lot of other people over the last few times, or last few years. I think that me and my group is what makes the party. We are the party. We are the list. So we should probably start facilitating these ourselves. And through that, we have the community, we have the builders, the developers, the YouTubers, the influencers. And if I can start hiring in Web2 talent that's relevant now, that have a following, then now we have new liquidity and a following, right? More towards the mass adoption. And then if we apply the Web2 business people and show how we can apply Web3 tech to Web2 business and make it all better, now we bring in VCs and investors. And then what we do and what I do best is facilitate that and connect people together to build their dreams. So we are a nonprofit celebratory company that brings people together to build whatever dream they have. And it's actually the office of the future, because tech is going to take over the world. This is a paradigm shift that's happening. And I believe that if we throw these parties coupled with those conferences and bring those other people in, the new people in, that's how we're going to head to the mass adoption, and everybody is going to get whatever they need. It's the connection of, if I'm a builder, but I need a marketer, an educator, and finance, well, they're all going to be there. If I'm a finance guy and I'm looking for an investment, or if I'm coming out with a product and I need someone to advertise, if I need someone to pay to be on somebody's YouTube channel to get the word out, because you can have the best product in the world and if nobody knows about it, doesn't matter, right? Right. So people need to be known and put on that, right? So it's almost like the Uber platform. They don't own any rides, they don't need any, but they facilitate them all. So I think that if I do this, I celebrate people, bring all the greatest people together, and then you guys can make all the money that you all want and build all the businesses and dreams that you want to do. And hopefully, after 12 of these across the country for the next year, 2024, starting at Art Basel, 1717 Collins Avenue, Miami Beach, Florida, last party of the year. And then we're going to go across the country at all the other conferences, and then end in Art Basel in 2024, the end of 2024, December. I think that a lot of beautiful things can be built, and we doubled down when blood's on the streets, people's heads cut off, and a lot of people's left. We got less than 10,000 active wallets at the moment, and I don't like that. So I want to be the change I want to see, and this is the best way I see and believe, with my talents and abilities, to bring more people into this space, to bring more liquidity, more builders, more developers, and actually become almost like the gateway to the space, because you guys are the ones that's put in all the work from the very beginning. And I think that you guys should have a say-so in who comes in, where, and what, to an extent, because you're not trying to do anything but make the space better. So you are not trying to build a little club to not let people in. You want to actually open arms, bring people in, but make sure that people are safe as well. And you've given your lives away. You, Altcoin Daily, BitBoy Crypto, Wendio, Adam, Charles, like you guys have really literally given your life away. And I didn't leave anybody out on purpose. I just would never stop.
There's just a lot of names, man. There's a lot of people who work in this industry. Yeah.
But you guys have given your lives away for this tech. Like you've literally sacrificed your life, relationships, time, talent, treasure. And I believe that you guys should always have a say so in who goes where and does what for a safety aspect alone, because most everybody in this space learned what they know from you guys. And I think that this is an opportunity to make sure that they all get to honor that as well.
I'll definitely appreciate that.
So we got PRODiGALX, baby. We're going to throw the baddest bangers across the globe for about 36 months. First 12 will be in the United States. Next 24 will be, here and the across the globe. Tokyo, Dubai, Thailand, Singapore, amazing, Miami, New York, LA, Vegas, Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Argentina. Like, we're going to be the place to be. Trying to couple with a lot of the conferences to be the main party. And I've got one, we've got one coming up that is, we're partnering with another company, and maybe going to end up being working together on all of these. And we're going to go to the Breathe conference in September. And we're actually throwing the Rogue Bunnies party on the top floor of the Westgate Casino and Hotel. It's only 200 spots, and me and Mind Your Business taking one of those a piece. So there's only $199. And we've got a few other people that's already taken. So there's probably only about 100 spots left because we've got about 100 gone. And so if you want to come hang out with a bunch of Rogue Bunnies and go to the conference, the Breathe conference with us in Vegas, I highly recommend it.
Amazing. So yeah, I love what you're building here.
And I don't know where those ticket prices came from, because my parties don't cost anything. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, there's something going on. I think it's just the site is still. I think it's just early days, right? It's just early days. You got the countdown here.
Yeah, the site isn't finished yet. So, but just if anybody's seen it, because it just stood out to me, there is 112 days and 20 hours until our first party. It'll be invite only and links sent out, but our tickets are not going to cost anything. We've already gotten sponsors to pay for everybody's tickets, so everything is absolutely free to the people, because the last thing we want to do is token gate something at the moment or charge money to say, hey, we want to grow. No, you can't get in if you don't have this. That doesn't make sense. So we just want to bring people in, but we don't want to just let everybody in, because we don't want, people causing trouble or people that aren't really here for the space are interested. So we are going to make it an invite only, but there'll be ways that you can get links to invite your friends so you can bring certain people in and stuff. So it's just not open and wild, but they're going to be pretty cool parties. And you already have you don't have to just jump on a plane to fly just for the party, because we're going to couple it with events so that you have a reason to actually get on a plane and be there and, get a hotel room and stuff. And then while you're there at those events, that's where, the real event's at.
Nice. Well, I can say definitely since going to a lot more IRL events, 2018, it was a little less the case. No, that's not true though. 2018, man, the conferences that I went to in 2018 for crypto, they directly led into the following 6 figures of business development that I did. It came from like 2 events in 2018.
See, I didn't even know events happened in 2018 for crypto, so I didn't know. But when I did find out, it wasn't hard to find out and see what was going on. I was thinking, this is the golf course. This is where the deals are done. And so it didn't take long before I was like, all right, I got to figure this out, because it naturally already had started to happen. So because you find lonely people and you don't leave them that way. Well, looking back at my testimony, I started to figure out how to kill the giant, because I did it with the lion and the bear, but I didn't realize what that was because I was naturally just being me. And most people are trying to just get past the doorman and the bodyguards and the security, right? Because they want to get in. Right. Well, I would see those people who they are and then talk to them, right? The server that's bringing you stuff, they say, I see you. Make sure that you tip them well and talk to them like a person. The camera guys, most people's always like, take a picture of me, me. It's all self-consumption. So those guys they get overlooked and not seen. And I'll video and take pictures of them and then go show them and say, I see you, bro. You're super talented, or, just being who I am. And guess who they started turning the camera towards? It wasn't rocket science, right? Guess who got the footage first? And I didn't do that for that. That was a fruit of what happened by me being me and taking my eyes off of me and looking at others. That's how you get the pictures and get in the door. So now guess what? Well, who can get anybody in any door? Because who's running the door? The guy that likes me because we talked, right? Instead of me just trying to talk him into something or get past him, I actually come back and spend time with him and see him as a person, right? And so now I can get anybody in the doors. There's not a door I don't get in. There's not a thing I can't get served. They run the place, right? Don't forget the people you're actually trying to get them to do stuff for you, and then you expect them to do it, or you think they're your enemy, like, freaking jerk won't let me in the door. Well, I wonder why, because you don't care about him or anything. You're just trying to get what you want, right? The best thing the way you can get what you want is to help other people get what they want, or at least see them as a person. And so I naturally did that. And then looking back over the past 2 years, that's what I was like, oh my gosh, that's why. Because I just thought, I got this crazy favor. Everybody, like how do I get everybody in these parties? Who am I? I don't even know. Like, I'm getting people that are super famous, that are actors and things in parties. I'm getting all you guys in that way more people know who you are than me. And how do I get y'all in the door? Well, I didn't know. I just thought it was like some crazy magic favor on my life. And then I looked back and had to assess the situation. And I was thinking, oh my gosh. I was like, so I'm giving you the secret sauce. If anybody wants to do that, like,
just that work, right? That's the thing about secret sauce like that. It looks an awful lot like being people oriented and
be a good human being and treat people like they're a person, like care about people for real. And
here's the thing, Loud. You make it sound like it's easy because it is for you. There are a lot of people for whom they got to go out of their comfort zone to do this, right? This would be it's not that it can't be learned or taught or developed, right? Personally, but there are a lot of people where the default state is not to be social. The default state is to be maybe even a little bit fearful, right? Of saying you're doing the wrong thing or being rejected or, or whatever it is. So like, this is amazing. I love that you're like, oh, there's a secret sauce. Oh no, my secret's out. It's like, no, man, for a lot of people, it's like any other secret. It's actually hard work. Or a little bit of work. Even.
And I don't mind. I don't mind to tell that too. I'm like super transparent, and I want that to happen so that we live in a better world. I think that if people stop getting overlooked and they actually realize that they're seen and that they matter and that they have value, guess what they'll do? They'll find their identity. And guess what people that know their identity do? They become successful and healed so that they can go help hurting people heal. So there's no secrets. There's no secret sauce that I don't want to give away. It's just one that I found. And I think now, here. Like, I don't even care about making any of the money off of any of those parties. Like, I want all of you all to be as successful as possible and make all the money you possibly can. And I believe by doing that, there will be some that forget, but the ones that don't will make sure that keeps happening. Like, I don't have to worry about me or what I'm doing, because if I do it so well, it's added value and the problem is actually solved. So those people get paid, the people that solve problems, right? So if you got to sell everything and look for clients all the time and do it, you're really probably not solving much of a problem or that big of a problem. Or you might be a nice guy and causing the problem to solve it, right? You hack people to sell security to, right? Type deal. You know, you don't want to be that guy, but there is those guys out there that do that.
No, totally. Well, there's even a percentage. I guess I'm trying to remember where the study came from. There's a percentage, and it's not a lot, but there's a percentage of firefighters who actually are like who are actually pyromaniacs, who actually do light fires so that their department can go and put them out. I know it sounds crazy, but there is a bit of a complex, like you're saying, with some of these people, right? So let's shift gears here yet again, and really briefly, I want to talk a little bit because I've seen you show this level of charity to people, and it's not being nice, like you're saying. It is actually because you're trying to develop the sort of kind heart that would just always do that. But there are some people who, you know, let's go to a more grounded, grounded frame here, right? You and I, like, we can really try to be like Jesus, but neither one of us is Jesus. Full stop, right? Can't ever be, not in this life. Maybe not in 1,000 lifetimes could either of us. Maybe even combined.
We're supposed to be who we were created to be.
Exactly.
We're supposed to allow him to be introduced through us. Him in us, right?
Right. So my only point is we can't always have the perfect judgment, right? We can't always judge a perfect judgment on people. And there are sometimes people who maybe they're not looking to improve. They're not looking to receive the kindness that you give. And they might even be a little bit dangerous and be waiting for somebody who is kind, because they confuse kindness for weakness. There are always those people, right? Who are a little bit predatory. I was struggling to articulate this, but there are those people who are a little bit predatory, maybe even sociopathic or psychopathic. They might be fundamentally wired very wrong. How do you account for this? How do you manage this?
Well, for one, I don't go out of my way to be in the proximity of that, right? So if it happens, then it happens, right? And I can't change who I am when that happens. I have to just be who I am. And so it says that love is patient, love is kind, love is long-suffering, and love doesn't seek its own, and it never fails. So if I'm not in the situation for me, I'll never have a problem. Like it can seem like a problem, but it's really not a problem, because if I bought you a gift and you didn't like the gift, and I got upset, I didn't really buy you the gift. I bought the gift for your response from myself, right? So if I actually am walking in love,
it's like buying your wife lingerie, right?
Right. If I actually am walking in love and bought you a gift, I don't care about the response that I get from you, because I didn't get it from me. I got it for you. But if we walk around and we try to do those things for other people to get what we want, then you'll be exposed by your reaction, right? So I can't change psychopaths other than walking in love towards them when I am there. I'm not going out of my way because I don't feel like I'm called to go help a bunch of psychopaths. But if psychopaths come in my path, by me not changing who I am, well, I'll give you this scenario. I use this a lot, and I did this in business back in the day. I think that a healthy culture spits out toxic people or toxic actions, and a toxic culture will spit out healthy people or healthy actions. And what I mean by that is, if I worked at Burger King, they have a slogan and they have a culture that says "Have it your way," right? That's their culture, and culture derives from the word care, what we care about. So the culture that we built is very important. And so if I think that we're supposed to have it our way, and then I start working at Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A says "my pleasure," then I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A and try that. Like we should say "Have it your way." Well, their culture will spit me out so fast because I'm not going to get traction or validation. So I either have two choices. I conform to my pleasure, or I leave because I don't get traction or validation. So if you set a healthy culture and you're so firm and stable in who you are and consistency and building what you care about, your core values, who you are, your principles, then any toxicity that comes in according to your culture, not saying it's toxic, period, but it might be toxic to the culture you've built, they will either conform or they will leave. Nobody gets kicked out. They choose to go because they don't get validation or traction.
or they're not willing to conform. That's it. That's the only way. So as unhealthy or psychopath as you want to be, those people will stop coming around you if they don't want to change for the better. They won't continue. But if you don't know who you are and you continue to let them have that way, you really haven't set a culture and you don't know who you are anyway, and you get tossed to and fro by everything. Does that make sense?
No, I think it does. The reason that I ask is because I just in the short time that I've been in the blockchain industry, I feel like I've seen a disproportionate number of, like, on the one hand, it's great because you described it so well earlier, finding one's tribe and seeing a bunch of misfits who were like, hey, and I'm not going to tell you about the Latin, the etymology of the Latin root of the word misfit, but I will say clearly we don't fit, right? We are misfit in the rest of the world. We don't fit well in the rest of the world, and find a lot of people in crypto.
I want to know that. Okay.
I know, right? I want to look it up now too, because you've been doing a really good job of doing the origin of all the other words. So now I feel like I'm underprepared.
I felt like you
did it.
Referring to that too, but I thought maybe he really knows that, and I'd like to know.
I wish.
I just think that kind of information is valuable because you actually are having context and you're thinking about what you normally just do, and then it causes all that stuff that we don't want. So if you know that, you can change it, right?
Yes. No, big time. No. And yeah, you're right. Knowledge really is power.
So what is power. What does misfits usually went through their entire life? Rejection.
Yes.
Disapproval.
Yeah.
People out to get their own, all about themselves, stepping on each other to get what they want. So there is a small subset of these misfits that are those people who are out to get their own, and like you said, they get rejected from other cultures because they themselves don't fit right in other established cultures and businesses. There are a lot of that stripe of misfit that comes to blockchain because they realize, on the one hand, future of finance and leverage. On the other hand, I can just create any token I want, and it's almost like I can print money out of thin air, right? Which is cool. You think about it long enough, it's really cool. Yeah, and it's an amazing concept until you put it in the hands of somebody who's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go take people's real world dollars and unsecured. I'm going to go issue a security, an unregistered security, and now I'm going to print new tokens. I'm going to make new NFTs. I'm going to tell people to send me, ETH to an address, and tell them to get lost, right? And tell them they don't get anything, which has enraged some people. I don't see a problem with. I'm not commenting on poly. Okay, it's just like a gun, right?
Yeah,
a gun can protect and help. A gun can feed you. A gun can do a lot.
Well, I disagree. Yeah, I disagree. That's a tool. So in the same way you can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use it to bash someone's skull in. I agree. Those are just tools. But crypto is both a tool, and blockchain is both the tool. But now also it's attracted a culture, right? And it is a vast melting pot of culture. That's what I'm referring to. It's not the tool, but the fact that certain tools attract some people.
The last time that happened, the greatest country on earth was built. And so I think that there's not enough leaders that stand up with that culture have been built yet, that we're that early to where the gangs in New York is still happening. The people that are running out west to mine gold is happening. And so we're going to get there, and you know it and I know it. And we got to be strong men and women with good culture building aspects of character and integrity to be there. And we're going to be the greatest country or tribe that the world has ever seen. So yeah, there's always a fight in the beginning to kill it before it grows. And there's always that finding out what the culture is that we want to build and who we want to build that with and where we're at and what we're doing. But it will be established. It's being established right now. And if we set it so strong, toxicity will be spit out and they won't last. See, character, your talent will get you in the room, but only your character will keep you in the room. And you know as well as I do, look at all the people that we thought were full of character and talent, and they're gone. They won't stick around. They won't get the traction or validation that they're wanting because we don't stand for that. And they won't stay. They will not last. we will be more consistent and outlast anybody that even tries that does that, because this is our baby and this is what we believe in. And we're the ones that's been here and we're the ones that's going nowhere. And there's nobody on this planet that I would put up against us at all. No way.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. We're going to use that as an ending note. And I definitely want to co-sign that. Thank you for, intellectually sparring with me on that one for a little while. You know that I believe in the positivity of people. You know that I believe in the positivity and the ultimate destiny of the people who are here, right? Otherwise, I'd be gone too, right? I had plenty of opportunities to find the exit on, the last couple of years. So definitely appreciate you making the time. Loudmouth, where can people find you? Or I should ask, in other words, where do you want people to go? What do you want them to do when they get there?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at loudmouth_ETH, or you can follow me on Instagram at _loudmouth.eth. And you can find me at basically any conference in the United States. And you can go to PRODiGALX.io and stay updated on things that are happening with that. We got until December will be our first one. So we're still under construction in that sense of building. If you want to be a part of that, reach out to me, DM me. But yeah, that's basically the only places that you can find me at this point. But that's in real life and online. So, and hit your notifications so that you can keep up with what I post. Make sure that you follow Mind Your Biz if you're not already, and hit his notifications because he's got great content. And I love you. I love who you are. Thanks for having me on. I got one last question for you. When do you think the 50% bull run is going to be? And what I mean by that is, if we're the bottom and the top, what date are we at halfway there?
Wow.
Month. This month. You don't have to give me a date. Just
month. Wow. So I think we have
it can even be within the 15th of this month to the 15th of that month if you want to pick 2 months,
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So my favorite quote right now is that all models are broken, but some are useful. So we've got the 4-year halving cycle that has served on a couple of cycles. In this last halving cycle, it started to break down a little bit. Why? Nobody asked why. The reason why is because we started to get altcoin season that would immediately follow the bull run in Bitcoin. And then after that, especially after this DeFi summer 1 and 2, we started to get NFT season. And these are capital outflows from traditional markets into Bitcoin, into altcoins, and now into NFTs. Loud, we don't know what's going to follow NFTs in terms of the capital outflow in these markets. And we're seeing it right now with depressed prices on blue chip NFTs like Basie and Macy. They're not holding their floor the way we all thought that they might or maybe should. And I think that's gonna have a say in when that 50% mark is for the bull run if you count all these assets. I think if you just look at Bitcoin, the models are broken. We're not going to get the same midway point that we did last time or the time before. And if you look at just altcoins, we're not going to get the same thing that we did last halving cycle. And if you look at NFTs, we're going to start to discover that we're either in the middle of an S curve or we're nearing the top of an S curve. We're not at the bottom of an S curve anymore for NFTs, but there will be growth, right, next time around. So where I'm going with all that is just to say that after April 2024 is the next Bitcoin halving, and I think the 50% bull run mark is going to be after the traditional altcoin season that happens after the Bitcoin bull run up. But I don't even have enough confidence to tell you when I think that month is going to be. I couldn't even tell you a 30-day window. I just don't. That's not the kind of content that I normally prepare. But I do know that the correlation between these markets is gonna throw some people who are only looking at Bitcoin, gonna throw them for a loop, and people who are only looking at altcoins, they're gonna get thrown for a loop. And now even people who are looking at NFTs are gonna get thrown for a loop, I think.
Yeah. So what I've seen from, if everything kind of goes in the same pattern every halving, as things even get added, and you notice, from what I've noticed, I could be wrong, but I think that this is going to be our last really super hyper bull run that we're going to get. And then 2030, more mass adoption. There's really not anything else that's going to be except for blockchain technology in my mind. If we're all here and we haven't blown each other up by then. So
knock on wood.
But it's like Bitcoin, and then money starts to dump over in with Ethereum, and then it dripples down to altcoins, and then it goes to crap coin or meme coins, and then crap coins. And then this cycle, it did the same thing. And then we had NFTs. And so it was like the last little, okay, let's dump it over here and mix it up a little bit and pull some more out. And then now I think that we're at the bottom of the coins. I think that we are close to the bottom of the, I think we hit the bottom of NFTs or close. If not, hope to God we are there. But I think
Right.
I think the cycle is going to happen the same thing again, and then we're going to throw in maybe something else with with the ordinals, the AI type stuff. There might be something brand new to it, but it's always like it's like a pot that dumps and then dumps into the next cup, the next cup, next cup. I think it's going to do the same thing, and I think that by December 2024, I think that we're probably going to be about 25% headed up on Bitcoin. And then I think it'll start going and then start tripling back down or dumping back down. So
love it. Okay.
You know more than I do.
No, I don't think I do. I think it's a really great summary. I think that we're viewing it very similar ways. And with that, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for staying a little bit longer to talk to me a bit about your testimony and a bit about just your whole worldview, and then also what you're building. It means so much.
Pulled it out of me. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Well, I definitely appreciate it, man. And I can't get enough of it. Thanks so much. Mind Your Biz community, thanks so much for clicking all the links you see down in the description, because everything that Loudmouth just said, you can go check him out at. You see, it's just one button press away. Don't be lazy. Just press a button and go turn on notifications.
Is gas fees high on that button, or is it? Oh, it's absolutely free, isn't it?
There you go. It costs you nothing to be awesome. And so go ahead and be awesome today. Appreciate you. And we will see you in the next one.
See you.